Alright, welcome back to another video you guys are all watching right now, by the way. So in the previous video I have actually talked about the anti-free-to-play norms of Honkai Star Rail, by the way. Okay, yeah, in this new video I'm actually here to talk about the account problems that most people actually face being a new player, and sometimes being a player that wants to play Honkai Star Rail. Okay, so I started out with having problems with building teams in my account itself. Okay, so Honkai Star Rail has a huge range of 5-star characters in the game, with no 4 stars being released at all because of the huge law always. And because of that reason, the developers have already mentioned that there will not be a 4-star anymore, and it's going to move forward with only having 5 stars, and there will not be a 4-star anymore, by the way. So this is going to be a huge. Now if you guys haven't seen where about this topic that I've talked about, then go back to the video that about the anti-free-to-play norms that I made, by the way. That will talk about the 4 stars that has not been out in Honkai Star Rail. Okay, now in this video, like a lot of people who start Honkai Star Rail for the actual very first time, now yeah, they might complain there's too many characters with no 4 stars and always end up with no gems. You know, like you ask them like what happened, you pull for like random characters, and they tell you yeah they do, right? Because they like these characters, they just pull. Now that's not the case when Honkai Star Rail, right? Because because that is your problem right there itself. Okay, like when you don't focus on one team at all, you will start to have that kind of problem in Honkai Star Rail itself, because the game has a lot of 5-star characters. Like this is the lineup that we're basically looking at, right? All these characters we're looking at, and as you guys see, I do not have all these characters at all, by the way. Do I want to go ahead and pull them? I could, but I'll screw myself over with my team building. Yeah, now this is the team building that we're talking about, by the way. In strategic games like Honkai Star Rail, where team building is required, you can't just pull for anybody. There's so many skippable characters that you would have to consider for that to happen, by the way. Who you want to get, which DPS you want to get. Are you gonna focus on getting Sunday? Okay, now if you want to get Sunday, the character that you would have to get is Aglaya, right? She is the support for Aglaya. Okay, and then you would have to work on getting a healer. Basically, it's either Lengsha, you would have to get Huo, which is out of meta already. Power creep has taken over. She's usable, but power creep has taken over. So Lengsha and Hyacinth is the brand new healer right now that you would have to consider more. And I would highly recommend for you to get Hyacinth more than Lengsha, basically, because she's newest healer for this year. Basically, Lengsha was last year's healer, but she still has some great potentials for old characters still, and some characters out there as well still. Yeah, now Gallagher also still works, being a 4-star healer as well. You could also go ahead and use him. He's not that good because he's a 4-star, but he still works. Also deals with a lot of power creep and issues right now, by the way, dealing with being the healer. So he's not going to be the best ones you could have. Now you can also consider Chapat, but you have to lose the 50-50 to him. You could also consider characters like Aventurine. Aventurine is a good shield as well, but that's another gold for you to afford, whether you like a shielder or not. In most situations, shielding may not be the best solution, because a healer will be the best solution for you, right? A sustained healer itself. Now, the support wise, you would have a lot of picks for you to go for, depending on where you are. If you went for Sunday, Aglaya is the choice for you. And after that, who you want to put. Tribi is another character for this year that's an absolute universal support, by the way. So if you want to get Tribi is actually a quantum harmony character. She works in many other teams currently in Honkai Star Rail. She works in all kind of teams that she could actually fit in, except for Dot team. Basically, she does not work effectively with Dot team, but you could still put her into Dot team and stuff like that. She does not work with break teams like Fireflies and Rappa teams, she does not work because there's break right there. But other than break teams and dot teams, Firefly is extremely universal support. She works in any other teams easily. Now you can easily consider pulling for her, and her banner is actually next patch, by the way. So you can consider her as a team if you want to build Sunday Heglea, right? Now another type of character that you actually could consider in a solution is that who you want to get, right? Because these are all the paths you have. Now Kafka is a dot character. For Kafka, you're gonna need to get High Silence, which is coming out next patch, the patch after next, by the way, in 3.5. Her teammate for Kafka is Black Swan, High Silence, and gonna be another healer, and gonna be the current healer that came out. You can put even any kind of healers or shielders that you need as well, that will work out for you. Now that's another team. You can also get Zila, by the way, but Zila has been power crept pretty badly. So she may be a good collection right now for your account, but Zila has been power crept pretty badly. So I would not recommend getting Zila because Zila has been power crept. Now if you lose to Weltiang, he's also been power crept. Himeko works in pure fiction to a certain level, but she has been power crept. Bronya works in certain teams, but she has been heavily power crept. Silver Wolf is getting buffed at the moment. Kafka is getting buffed at the moment. Locha apparently works still pretty well in many teams, by the way. He's a pretty good healer and sustain. He works pretty decent, but he's not as good as the current healers that are currently out, like Lingsha and Hyacinth. So compared to Locha, you still want to go ahead and get Lingsha and Hyacinth. But Locha is good to have if you have him, regardless. But he has been slowly power crept. Clara has been completely power crept. She's not worth using in any teams. Japad is good to have in any teams, but he has been power crept as well. Blade works because he's getting buffed. He also works with Castri's teams, by the way. In a dual DPS, teams like Castris, the HP skills, he's extremely good, so you can use him as well with Castris. So he's pretty good right now. Fu Xuan works pretty well in any teams that you would like to have. She's a pretty good sustain plus buffer at the moment. You can go ahead and use Fu Xuan. She's not power crept yet at the moment. She's pretty decently good depending on how you have built her and how well you have built her. Yeah? Yanqing has been completely power crept. He's not worth using. Bai Lu is a decent healer if you have no other choice on healing options, but she has been power crept as well. Jing Liu is getting buffed. She's decent at the very moment. She's not as good as the other new characters in Emphorius. She's decent, but she has been power crept and she's getting buffed recently as well. So she might have some potentials to come back into the meta. Fei Xiao is decent, but Fei Xiao has been power crept as well, by the way. Fei Xiao is worth having for a win hunt DPS like her. Her potential is currently at the moment with Cypher. Cypher's current banner is currently out right now, by the way. So if you have Cypher, for Fei Xiao is your choice. Fei Xiao is back in the meta at the moment, but she has been power crept. She's gonna be carried by Cypher at the moment. Yeah. So Fei Xiao is decent at the moment. She was power crept, but she's back in the meta at the moment. Yun Li is decent still at the moment to be usable. Her potential for teams is not as great at the moment though, but she's still a very decent DPS. She has some potentials. The same team with Fei Xiao you could actually use with her, not Cypher though. You cannot use Cypher with Yun Li, but she has some kind of potentials, but she is getting to a point of getting power crept as well eventually. We do not know why, but she's a good character. You could consider still to getting cut for collection, and she's decent. Fugue is really good. Fugue is the current support for Firefly and Rappa break teams. She's a character that's well considered for any break teams out there for like Rappa and Firefly. So if you want to get teams like Firefly or Rappa that's a break DPS, Fugue is definitely the choice you want to go for. Ruan Mei is also another character that you want to go for teams like break and break teams like Firefly and Rappa teams, because Ronmei is one of the best choice to go for if you're going for like break teams like that. She is one of the best characters to get. She was also given out for free quite recently as well. Dr. Ratio was given completely for free, by the way. He has some potentials with some supports that you could actually get, but if you do not have him well built, he's not that good. He's also a little bit more power crept as well, because of a character like him being completely for free, by the way. He has some potentials right now. He still works pretty well. It takes a lot of investment, but being a free unit like him, he slowly got into the not the best side of Honkai Star Rail. But he's pretty decent at the moment. He's not as good. He takes a lot of investment to be a good unit, but he's a free unit for Honkai Star Rail. What's given out? Sparkle is also sort of power crept. She works as a very decent support for most teams still, if you do not have much options. But Sparkle also has been power crept. There's some situations they're saying that Sparkle SP might be coming out. Another 5-star Sparkle SP might be coming out in the future, in a future next year. But at the moment, Sparkle is also sort of power crept. She works if you have her well built. In any teams, you can actually use her to try yourself to clear any content that you would like. She works out, but she's also power crept. Black Swan is a good unit to have if you're wanting to go for dot characters. Black Swan is also power crept as well. Keep that in mind, by the way. You don't need to go for Black Swan if you have Cypher and Kafka, because that's the new units right now. But Black Swan has been power crept as well. Acheron is an extremely hard unit to use. She has a lot of potentials at the moment, because C0 Acheron is power crept pretty badly. To well invest into a good Acheron team, you need to have Jiao Chu. Jiao Chu is a character that above that I just mentioned, I think, where it was, is Jiao Chu is this character. You're gonna need Jiao Chu for Acheron. He's one of Acheron's best DPS to have. You're gonna have to have a Jiao Chu. He's another Nahility fire character that's good for characters like Acheron, by the way. So you're gonna have to consider him for Acheron. If you do not have him, you can also consider Cypher as well. Cypher works well with Acheron as well, by the way. So for Acheron, it's a hard investment, unless you want to go for C2 Acheron, by the way. C2 Acheron is actually really good. It loosens up the potential of not having two Nihilities in one team, because C0 you're gonna need two Nihility in one team. At C2, Acheron loses the options for you to not have two Nihility in one team itself. So having Acheron at C2 is pretty good. Acheron takes a lot of investment, but if you someone like who likes Raiden in general in Honkai Star Rail, she's a very good unit, but takes a lot of investment. You're gonna have to go for a C0 Acheron that either has Jiao Chu and Cypher with a healer, or you're gonna have to be a C2 or C6 Acheron with Cypher alone, and you don't want to get Jiao Chu. But her premium team is Jiao Chu, Cypher, and a healer. That's her premium team. Yeah, but her C2 is good to get. You don't have to though. If you have Jiao Chu and Cypher, you could get her, right? You could try to get her C2 because it's really good, right? You don't have to if you don't want to. You can stick with the C0 as well, but C0 is a little bit power crept unless you have Jiao Chu and Cypher, the team with her, by the way. So yeah, Robin is a good follow-up DPS, I mean support, by the way, to actually have. She's well considered for a lot of follow-up teams. You can use her with Fei Xiao, you can use her with a lot of other current teams as well if you have her. She's a pretty good support you could have easily, very well worth having. So you could go ahead and get her if you like to as well for follow-up teams. She does not work in dot teams, she does not work in break teams, stuff like that. Yeah, but anything else she works pretty well. You can have her at the moment. Yeah. So Rappa we just talked about. She's a break DPS. Okay. Her teams basically goes by Ruan-Mei, Fugue and stuff like that, along with the Lengsha. Basically is her signature healer. Yeah, you could use her. Yeah, she's an imaginary DPS. Okay, the Hertha is another free-to-play DPS. By the way, the Hertha has a lot of great potentials for being one of the best DPS right now in the game. Her team needs one erudition in your team. You could either have Anaksha. Anaksha is a very good DPS at the moment in Honkai Star Rail. He has the synergy of having any of your team members, any of your enemies have 7 element weakness and stuff like that. So Hertha's best one of her best DPS is Anaksha. Now if you do not want to get Anaksha, you can actually use Mini Hertha, the 4-star, and stuff like that also as well. Works pretty well enough. But Hertha's best team is Anaksha, a healer, and literally any other support you could have, like Robin and stuff. You could just put there and then just use of it, right? So that's the best team you could get. And but the Hertha is an extremely good choice for you to go as if you are free to play, because she has great potentials. She's a very good unit at the moment right now as a DPS. You don't have to get Anaksha, but Anaksha is a very good DPS to get for Hertha. He's one of the best DPS for Hertha at the very moment. So if you want to get Hertha, you have to consider Anaksha. He's one of the best characters to have for the Hertha at the moment. But other than that, she's a very good unit if you want to get. Yeah, Castris is the anniversary DPS. She's a quantum remembrance character. Castris's best healer is, you literally see right here, Hyacinth. She's also so-called the princess of Honkai Star Rail at the very moment. Her potentials for team is insane. She has her own territory and etc. And Castris's best unit to actually consider is having Hyacinth, her signature healer. And her other potential to actually use is you could have Tribi, which I'm pulling next patch. You could actually use Tribi with Castris as well. It's a pretty good DPS or support that you could have for Castris as well. But Castris's team is not quite done yet. Castris's team is still on the waiting list. She still needs Castris is a DPS that needs 4 pets, or she needs supports or DPS with pets in general. So you're gonna need DPS and supports that have pets with them. So her team is not quite done yet. Her team is speculated to be March SP and Cyrene aka Alicia, which is coming out in the future patch this year. That's gonna be her team lineup, and that's gonna be her team that's gonna be finishing it off. So Castris is a very strong meta power creeping DPS at the moment. I have her alone, I have Hyacinth alone, and I could tell you that I'm able to clear all my endgame content and everything with just Castris alone. She's the best character in the game at the very moment. She's the princess for meta at the moment this year. Yeah, she I absolutely love her. Like, it's crazy, but her potentials are crazy at the moment. March SP is has been power crept, but works at the very moment in Fei-Shao teams. But sad to say that March 7th has been power crept. Now there's a March SP coming out, a 5-star March in the future. We're gonna get a March SP, and the potential of March SP at the moment they are mentioning is for Castris or something like that. She might have more potentials, but nothing to this date has been known yet to speculate about that. Yeah, but all you can show is March 7th is power crept. Dan Heng has been power crept, you don't need him. Arlen has been power crept, you don't need him. Asta has been power crept, you don't need him. Hertha is a good potential to have for pure fiction. She's also good to have for characters like the Herta, the 5-star Herta. If you don't have erudition, then one erudition is needed for the Herta, by the way, at C0. So you could actually consider mini Herta for the Herta as well. So she has some good potential at the moment. I'm still using mini Herta for my 5-star Herta, by the way. I do not have Anaksha, and I'm not going to be able to get Anaksha as well. Not going to be getting her, so I'm still using mini Herta. She is still pretty good, by the way, with well invested build and stuff like that. She's really good. Yeah. Serval is power crept. You don't need her. She's a decent support, but she's hella power crept. Natasha is a 4-star that's good for healer options if you do not have any kind of healers 5 stars. So you can consider Natasha, but Natasha is also power crept. Pela is a very good character still, regardless at the moment. She needs a good team building, a good sustain to carry her, a very good well invested team to carry her, and a very good well invested Pela itself for her to survive, because Pela is power crept, but she works pretty well at the moment. She's pretty good still, decently, but she needs a well invested build and a well invested team to actually work with. That actually does well rotations as well, but she's at the moment decent to use if you want. If you're new to the game, I wouldn't recommend Pela at the moment yet, because her, like I said before, she needs a well invested team itself that includes a lot of 5 stars along. Sampo has been power crept, you don't really need him. Hook has been power crept, you don't really need her anymore. Lynx is a decent healer, she has also been power crept, you don't need her at the moment unless you don't have any other sustain or healing options. You could go for Lynx as well, but she's also been power crept. Luca has been power crept, you don't need him. Qingque is power crept, you don't need him. Ting Yun is still pretty decent, but she needs a well invested build and a well invested team to basically get use of out of her. She could die in one shot, one hit by a teams and enemies at the very moment, by the way. So Ting Yun would need a lot of investment to basically be used as well, but she's decent. She's power crept pretty badly as well. Xu Shang is completely power crept, you don't need her. Yukong is power crept, you don't really need her. Gwen Ivan is a dot support and she's been power crept as well, you don't need her. Sui Yi is power crept, you don't really need her anymore. She's power crept. Hanya is also power crept, you don't really need her anymore. Mose is decent in certain teams still at the very moment because he's a new support, but he's also been power crept as well, you don't really need Mose anymore. Gallagher is still pretty decent, you could use her, he's not power crept yet. He's getting there, but he's extremely decent at the moment. You still could use Gallagher in many teams like Firefly team or Break teams that you do not have Lingsha. I still use my Gallagher in teams like Rappa, Break teams and stuff like that. He's still pretty decent in most teams at the very moment as well. The potential of him being power crept is gonna be either next year or year after, most likely, but he's getting there. His power creep is coming, but he's still a pretty decent character. Misha is power creep, you don't really need her anymore. So yeah, Jing Yuan is good, still decently well. Now to have Jing Yuan, you're gonna have to consider a lot of things. I do not have him, so I could not tell you much about this. Some of these characters I never considered, but they have some good potential. Like Maide is a very good support. DPS you could actually consider to have for many teams out there. Aglaya's best DPS is Sunday, so you want to put Aglaya with Sunday as well, or could try her synergies with outside of Sunday as well, but her best DPS is Sunday. Boot Heal is decent at the very moment. You don't need Boot Heal so much anymore, but he's pretty good in many teams. You would have to consider Robin for him being a support. Jade is a very good support still at the moment. She's not power crept yet. A C2 Jade is extremely good at the moment, But the C0 Jade could actually do you a lot of favor, like the Hertha team that I just mentioned, by the way. Yeah, if you do not want to build the mini Hertha, you could consider C0 Jade. It's actually really good. She's another erudition support unit that you could consider. And the Hertha with C0 Jade is pretty good to have, by the way. Yeah. So yeah, and Cypher we just talked about, right? Akron and Fei Xiao teams. She's pretty good. Other than that, Cypher's potentials is all over the place at the moment, because her best team to have for damage and everything is Fei Xiao and Akron. Other than that, Cypher's potential is knocking off a little bit. Argenti is decent. He's also getting power crept a little bit, but you could use him if you like to as well. His best support is Robin as well, obvious choice. Basically, so yeah, Firefly, break team, DPS. Her best healer is Lingsha. You want to use Lingsha for Firefly. Her support is Fugue, basically. So, and Ruanmei is her best team, basically. So yeah, you could use Firefly in that team. Outside of those teams, you may not be able to use her. So yeah, these are all the stuff. It's gonna be hard for you to pull, that's for sure, by the way, because all these characters have different. Now you have to pick, by the way, in Honkai Star Rail, by the way, you have to pick who you want and who you want to get. By the way, there's so many different characters, and if you actually think that you can go ahead and pull every one of these characters in the game, it's not as easy as you think. You have to pick one DPS that you want and focus on their team building for them and their units itself. If you're a type to pull for everyone randomly everywhere, you're gonna be gone easily. The power creep will get to you, by the way, and you will not be able to survive it through in your account. It's extremely hard, but that's the reality of it. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Leave some comments if you guys could, or reach out to me on my social medias to let me know what you guys think of what I just mentioned, and have fun. Make sure to pick the right DPS you want to get. Do not pull all over the place. Do not pull random DPS. Remember to pick the right character, right DPS, and focus on their team building. You'll be at a good spot. If you want to focus on Castris, hey, I recommend you to get Castris. She's a good DPS to get, and her teams is extremely good at the very moment. So you could go for her as well. You could go for Sunday as well. That's another DPS with her teams are also pretty good at the moment. Do not pull everywhere though, focus on one. If you want to go for Sunday, go for Sunday. Skip Castris. If you want to go for Castris, skip Sunday. So focus on one team, remember that. Yeah, thank you guys for watching, and I shall catch you guys in another video. Bye bye.